From the beginning of time, humanity has always gazed skyward, seeking profound answers about our place in the vast universe. The ancient book of Genesis actually reveals a key cosmological truth about the celestial bodies positioned high above us. It teaches us that God formed the sun, the moon, and all the distant stars with a specific, powerful, divine intention in mind. These luminaries were designed to be much more than simple, passive sources of visible light for our little blue planet. They were strategically put in place to govern concepts of time, establish divine order, and point toward a much greater purpose. For this exploration, we will deeply examine why these heavenly lights were originally created in the first place. We will also uncover how they precisely function as God's own magnificent cosmic calendar for all of creation. Finally, we'll see what this entire arrangement wonderfully reveals about his ultimate sovereignty and profound wisdom. It shows us a direct connection between the vast, endless heavens and his intended relationship with every single human being. Join us now as we uncover the deep architecture behind the creation of the heavenly luminaries in Genesis chapter 1. We must first note that Genesis explicitly states the creation of these lights occurred on the 4th day of the initial creation account. This timing is absolutely crucial because it means that light itself already existed before any sun or moon was ever formed. This foundational sequence teaches us a vital first truth about the very nature of all existing light in our universe. It clearly establishes that foundational, essential light is not in any way dependent upon the sun for its very being. The initial, pure light actually came forth directly from God's own creative command at the very beginning. Furthermore, this sequence reveals that the luminaries are specifically tools given to us for function, not eternal sources of inherent divine power. Think about the ancient world, where many different cultures, unfortunately, chose to worship the sun and the moon as false deities. However, the Genesis narrative introduces an entirely radical and transformative idea to challenge that old perspective. It boldly declares that these visible celestial bodies are emphatically not to be worshipped by any person. Instead, these magnificent objects are intended to be considered humble servants within the grand cosmic design for our benefit. They were created specifically for the essential purpose of establishing divine order and maintaining perfect structure across creation. Their entire function is rooted firmly in service to us, not in receiving the adoration meant only for the true Creator. Understanding this key distinction helps us properly frame the entire universe surrounding us with accuracy. The sequence of creation fundamentally shifts our understanding of heavenly authority in a profound and lasting way. This separation between the true source and the functional tool is a powerful lesson in recognizing true, ultimate divinity. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, provides the specific functional description for these created objects in our sky. It tells us they were established specifically for signs and seasons, and for days and years as their primary, intended role. This specific wording clearly describes a precise and incredibly detailed functional purpose built into our physical world. God intentionally positioned these visible celestial bodies to form the entire foundation of our world's measurable calendar system. Let's break down this incredibly useful architectural function, one vital piece at a time, for better clarity and understanding. The brilliant sun is the primary mechanism that dictates the daily cycle we all experience every single 24 hours. Simultaneously, that same powerful sun governs the larger progression of the yearly seasonal cycle across the entire globe. Moving on to the moon, this beautiful orb is the mechanism established by God to determine the regular monthly divisions of our time. As for the distant, shimmering stars, they serve the vital function of mapping out seasons and providing essential celestial navigation guides. This reveals that the very concept of time itself is built upon a foundational divine architecture put in place by the original Creator. It is a profound realization that humanity does not simply invent time as we go along in our everyday lives. Rather, we are meant to diligently discover the inherent, embedded order that God established deep within His finished creation. Every tick, every rotation, and every orbital path follows this meticulously planned divine framework, without deviation. The utter predictability of the heavens is a constant demonstration of the Creator's unwavering faithfulness to us. We rely on this cosmic framework for everything from planting seeds in the ground to organizing all of our modern schedules. This divine calendar ensures that our lives have a recognizable and comforting rhythm and pattern to follow daily. Understanding these established markers provides deep comfort in what can sometimes feel like a chaotic, uncertain world. The sequence of creation fundamentally shifts our entire perspective on heavenly authority forever, for the better. This separation between source and tool is a powerful lesson in correctly recognizing true, ultimate divinity in our lives. Beyond just marking time, the text uses the powerful word signs, which also carries the meaning of direct signals or indicators. Throughout the entire sweep of sacred scripture, God consistently uses the vast open sky to communicate very important messages to all of humanity. Consider the remarkable star that miraculously guided the wise men from the east to a very specific prophesied location. Or recall that profound moment when the sun dramatically darkened during the solemn hours of the crucifixion event itself. We also see this powerful pattern repeated through vivid prophetic imagery, found in the ancient writings of the prophets and in Revelation. The heavens, therefore, do much more than simply declare the Creator's overwhelming glory to everyone who bothers to look up. They actively declare His specific messages, His perfectly timed divine interventions, and His unfolding redemptive plan for all people. These celestial events act as divine signposts throughout the entirety of history for those who are paying close and careful attention. Every sunrise and every sunset can be seen as a silent daily testament to an ongoing, active divine conversation with us. We should learn to interpret these heavenly displays as direct communications originating from the ultimate source of all wisdom. The entire sky effectively becomes a vast open textbook of divine signaling and hidden purpose waiting to be read. These signs perfectly connect the astronomical observations with the deep spiritual reality in a very tangible, reachable way for believers. The universe is speaking constantly, and the familiar luminaries are key components within that divine language being shared. We find clues to the unfolding future, clearly written in the movements and patterns of the ancient lights above our heads. Recognizing them as divine signs elevates our simple observation from mere astronomy to a deeply sacred observation of truth. Let's consider the critical physical reality of life on Earth, being completely dependent on these precise celestial mechanics working every day. If the sun and the moon were suddenly to cease their precise functioning as designed, the consequences would be truly catastrophic for us all. Without their steady, reliable influence, our planet's delicate climate systems would inevitably begin to collapse entirely without warning. The predictable patterns of the seasons, which govern so much of nature's cycle, would simply vanish without any trace at all. Furthermore, the essential biological cycles that sustain all plant and animal life would immediately fail across the entire globe. Agriculture, which feeds the entire global population day after day, would become virtually impossible without reliable solar cycles. This illustrates that God deliberately designed the very structure of creation to rely on this cosmic precision for its continued stable existence. Therefore, the luminaries are certainly not operating randomly through the cosmos, as if by pure chance alone. They are instead highly calibrated, sophisticated instruments, essential for sustaining all known forms of life everywhere. This incredible, intricate functionality reflects the very character of God as a masterful architect of all physical reality. It shows Him to be the supreme mathematician, whose underlying calculations are flawless in every single application across existence. He is also revealed as the ultimate sustainer, actively upholding the necessary conditions for life every single moment of every day. And finally, He is our constant provider, ensuring the necessary elements for our very survival are consistently available to us always. The stability of our entire world is a daily miracle performed reliably through these magnificent heavenly servants above us. We live within the constant, reliable outcome of divine engineering, which is an incredible source of profound security for our souls. The theological reflection reveals a deeper meaning when we consider God giving us this very first cosmic calendar system. This profound act of provision reveals that He is inherently eternal, existing completely outside of our limited temporal constraints. It shows that He actively governs and orchestrates all the various seasons and cycles that mark our individual human lives. God establishes intentional rhythms for our entire existence, including times designated for necessary work and mandatory periods of rest. These rhythms also structure our spiritual lives, setting aside specific times for dedicated worship and important religious celebrations. All the ancient biblical festivals, the sacred Sabbath cycles, and the prophetic timelines depend entirely on this established divine calendar. God designed the luminaries specifically to help all of humanity finally understand one crucial, overarching spiritual truth in the end. That ultimate truth is that time itself must be considered sacred, because all of time ultimately belongs completely to the Creator alone. Our individual moments are not meaningless or random. They are measured units carefully placed within His eternal and perfect plan. We are meant to be diligent stewards of time that was first gifted to us by the deliberate design of the Creator. This cosmic clock serves as an ever-present, visible reminder to us all that He firmly governs the entire flow of all human history. It reaffirms that He is the one who establishes and maintains all the necessary seasons for both our spiritual and our physical journeys. He is the divine, sovereign force that directs the entire unfolding story of creation, from the very beginning to its magnificent, intended end. Turning our attention now to the book of Revelation, we discover an astonishing future reality awaiting all of creation. In that new, perfected creation, the physical sun and the physical moon will no longer be necessary for illumination at all. We must pause and ask ourselves feeding why. This monumental and incredible change will occur in the ultimate future state of our existence. The clear answer lies in the concept of fulfillment. Christ Himself will finally become the one, everlasting, infinite source of all necessary light. The very existence of the original luminaries was always meant to point us directly toward this deeper, ultimate spiritual truth we seek. The sun, in its role as the primary giver of physical life, giving light, ultimately points directly to Christ as the source of true spiritual life for us. The moon reflects the sun's borrowed light perfectly, mirroring how we are called to reflect His divine glory out to the world around us. The countless, distant stars represent the immeasurable vastness and the incredible scope of God's unfolding promises made to all of humanity. In essence, these heavenly bodies serve as powerful, initial signs that constantly point us forward to what is coming next. They direct our gaze toward the final, ultimate light, which is undeniably and wonderfully Jesus Christ Himself, our Redeemer. Ultimately, Genesis chapter 1 paints a picture of a universe that is anything but chaotic, random, or self-created by mere chance alone. It presents a reality that is perfectly ordered, precisely timed, actively sustained, and beautifully structured by a sovereign, caring God. This caring Creator demonstrably cares about the unique rhythm, inherent purpose, and eternal destiny of all humankind throughout time. The luminaries function as nothing less than God's own perfectly reliable cosmic clock, ticking away faithfully across all the ages of history. This clock serves as an ever-present, visible reminder to us all that He firmly governs the entire flow of all human history right now. It reaffirms that He is the one who establishes and maintains all the necessary seasons for both our spiritual and our physical journeys on earth. He is the divine, sovereign force that directs the entire unfolding story of creation, from its very beginning to its magnificent, intended end. Therefore, when we simply look up at the sun, the moon, or the countless stars above us, our entire observation changes profoundly. We are not merely looking at distant, cold astronomical objects floating aimlessly in empty vacant space anymore. What we are truly seeing is God's established calendar, His divine order, and His unwavering faithfulness, written clearly across the entire sky for every person